When someone loses a spouse, they are a widower. When someone loses their parents, they're an orphan. But there's no word for when you lose your children. In 1948, I was born in Brainerd, Minnesota. We never had a Bible in our house. I asked my dad one time about God, and he said, well, God knows everything. End of lesson. My dad had hardening of the arteries. In 1962, he died of a heart attack. I just turned 13, and my parents were so close that my mother, who had colon cancer, she gave up the will to live. So in February the next year, she died. About 1972, that's when I met Pam.
I was born in Portland, Oregon. I was one of those high-strung children. I still am. I worried about a lot of things. I already had 2 children by the time I met Larry, and I didn't want them to inherit a world that was just filled with killing each other. I joined a lot of the movements. I marched in the peace marches with thousands and thousands of people. So I thought, well, I'll go door to door for this particular candidate because he's anti-war. All these things I was doing to put forth all this effort to change things, it wasn't working.
Pam and I had gotten married, and Nicky was born, and we were just ecstatic, very happy. He had this croup, and we took him to the hospital. And there was a doctor there, and he diagnosed it as ataxia telangiectasis. And it's a progressive disorder. There's no cure for it. Pam was pregnant the second time, and we had Nathaniel Thomas. And he too had this condition of ataxia.
I cried. I cried and cried. I cried my eyes out during that time. Oh, hi. So the witnesses found me, and they just kept calling and talking to me and being so kind to me. When we studied that, Jesus talked about the little sparrow even is important to him and how much more important a human is. So that meant a lot to me.
After Pam was baptized, I could see changes, that this was good for the family.
Once we were in the congregation, everybody loved them, and all the friends were wonderful.
She told me that I could study with any brother in the hall that I wanted. Just go ask them. So I did. That helped me to be a better father and to be a better husband. In 1986, October of that year, our oldest boy, Nicky, he fell asleep in death. He was 13 when he died. Our youngest boy, Nate, was 16 when he died. Debbie, she had melanoma and it had gone into her brain, and she had brain tumors. Well, she didn't last but a couple months, and she fell asleep in death. There we were. We had a complete empty nest. And about that time, Pam got diagnosed with breast cancer.
The first chemotherapy, there were 2, just about killed me. It came really close because it was hard to even breathe sometimes.
2 bouts of breast cancer, she kept on pioneering.
When Larry got hurt, falling up through the ceiling, the whole left side of his face hit the corner of the metal wood stove and broke it all the way through. He had to be fed by a tube through a little opening in his teeth.
2 Corinthians, the first chapter, verses 3 and 4, talks about the God of all comfort. It's easy to be comfortable when everything's going well. When these kind of things happen, to find true comfort, is within Jehovah's organization. You can go through something and you can still keep a theocratic routine. That theocratic routine is what helps us to endure. We knew that we would like to end this system of things as pioneers.
Larry and I are out in service together almost every single day.
We found that pioneering together and having Bible studies together is very powerful.
We've helped on a regional building project together. It's a wonderful spiritual time.
You don't rely on yourself. You have to rely on Jehovah.
When Jehovah loves you, he takes care of you, keeps you on your feet.
Every day I remember my children. You don't forget the people you love. And if you love Jehovah, you won't forget him. God is love, and that love is what helps us to be able to endure.